What do you do when you have people who want your coaching and not enough spots to go around? It's a good problem to have, right? It's great to have demand exceed supply and to have a lot of leads for your coaching, but to only want to take on a certain number of clients at a time. So when I started this challenge to myself where I was going to start a new fitness coaching business, a business in a totally different niche than my current coaching business, I decided I only want to take on 5 clients. All right. And that's because number one, I want to make sure that each one of those clients for this first round can have a lot of my personal attention so I can create great case studies, which will lead obviously to success down the road. And so that I know that my process is solid, right? The second reason is because I have an existing business helping coaches get clients, and we have a live event in September. So I have a lot going on. And so I decided to cap my roster at 5 clients for now. And so as I started off in this new business, I challenged myself to schedule 30 coaching conversations with my potential clients. And that's following a process that I teach in my course, Coaching Business Bootcamp. And you put out a free session offer on Facebook and Instagram and via email. And you start to fill your calendar with people who are willing and able to pay for what you're offering, people who are at least interested. And so I've booked about 21 conversations at this point. Last week, I had about 10 of those conversations, and I offered my coaching to 7 of those people. Now, out of the 7 people who I talked to, I offered my coaching to, I actually got 4 clients. So that's an above 50% conversion rate, which is excellent. It's really good. The problem is now I only have 1 spot left, right? Because I decided I was going to take on 5 clients and I have 4 already. I'm only about halfway through the conversations I've booked, and I haven't even booked 30 conversations. And so I've had to make the decision, what do I want to do about that? And there's really 3 options. The first option is to decide that I want to take on more than 5 clients, to actually make my roster larger. The problem with that is it feels a little bit dishonest, right? Because I've been telling people, I'm only taking on 5 clients this round. And if you tell people something and then you kind of change the game, you change the rules, to me, that's not in total integrity. So that's the least compelling option to me. I'd still like to keep my roster capped at 5 clients, and I can take on more in the future if I decide I want to make my roster bigger. But for this round, I still want to stick to 5 clients. I feel like that's the most honest thing. It's also the thing that allows me to focus on my other priorities in my current business, focus on filling my live event and everything else that I have going on. So I'm going to stick to the 5 clients. The second option is to raise my prices. Now, in most cases, this is what I would recommend. If demand is exceeding supply, in other words, if you have more leads than spots on your roster, and if you're converting above 50%, in other words, more than half the people you talk to end up signing on with you, that's a pretty good sign that you should raise your prices. Now, I know that my prices are low relative to my current business. I'm charging $500 a month for a 3-month package or $1,250 up front. That's my current pricing in this new niche for fitness coaching. And that is low relative to what I'm charging in my current business. It's high relative to a lot of coaches, but if you understand how to do sales and marketing, it's on the low end. For most people, I'd recommend raise your price at this point if you have more demand than supply. The problem is, this is my first round of clients in the new niche. I've never helped people lose weight on a paid basis in a coaching context before. And because of that, I feel like it's a little bit early to raise prices. And even though I probably could do it and get away with it, and that would be one way to deal with all the leads I have and not having many spots, it still doesn't feel very honest to me. And so I always, like with the first point about making my roster larger, my rule of thumb is always go with the thing that feels most in integrity, that feels most honest and most transparent. So for me, I'd like to stick with my pricing for these first 5 clients. Okay, it doesn't make sense for me to raise my pricing now just because I'd like to see how this goes, to get great results for people in this first round, and then I can raise my pricing from there. The best thing you can do pricing-wise is to have a full client roster, because if you're always having a full client roster, you can always be confident that if you raise your prices, you're set, because you already have all the clients that you need. So I probably will raise my prices, but not at this point. The third option to deal with all of these conversations I have coming up, where I only have 1 spot to take on a client, is to not schedule any more conversations, okay? So originally I had promised to schedule 30 conversations, but in my specific scenario where I'm converting really high on those conversations, I have another business to run, and I don't have a lot of time. You know, I've been thinking about it and I've decided, even though my ego kind of wants to book 30 conversations just to say that I did it, I really don't need those conversations. And actually, it would take me time both to schedule more conversations that I have to post and reach out to people and to have the conversations. And I really can't justify this right now, given that I'm almost at my 5 client goal. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop at these 21 conversations. I'm just gonna continue on with the conversations I already have booked. And then the next thing I'm going to do is start to create a wait list. So regardless of any of these strategies that you do, whether you decide to take on more clients, whether you decide to raise your prices, or whether you decide to just stop booking more conversations with potential clients, it's really important to know how to create a wait list. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have my strategy sessions the exact same way as I would if I did have space for a client. But at the end of that conversation, once I've clarified their goals, their obstacles, their challenges, and their situation, I'm going to tell them a little bit about what it looks like to work with me. I'm not going to tell them the price, but I'm going to ask if they'd be interested in working with me. If they are, then I'm going to let them know, you know what, I don't have any space left on my roster right now for this round. Would you like me to reach back out in 2-3 months when that space is open? Would you like to be put on a wait list? If they say yes to that, I put their name on a list. I set myself a reminder to reach out to them once I have a space open on my roster. And that's how you get really warm leads waiting as soon as you have a spot on your roster, which is a great position to be in because you can continually come from a place of abundance. Okay, so I'm going to start that wait list. I'm going to finish out the conversations I have, not going to book any more. And then once my roster's full, I'll consider raising my prices, or I'll consider, taking on more clients. But that's not going to happen in this first 3-month period of the business because I just want to focus on the clients that I'm serving and creating great case studies. All right, hope that was helpful, and we will talk soon. Hey, I hope you liked that video. If you want more content like it, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's a big red button, says subscribe on it, and if you click that, then you'll get notified when I upload new videos. I'm going to be documenting my whole journey of building this coaching business, and I'd love you to follow along.